All right, it's day 2 of jury selection underway in Walterboro, South Carolina, this tiny little community in the double murder trial of disbarred attorney Alec Murdaugh. He is accused of killing his wife, Maggie, and his 22-year-old son, Paul, back in 2021. Prosecutors say Murdaugh did it for sympathy, to buy time, and cover up dozens of financial crimes that he has been charged with. Murdaugh has denied the charges against him in this trial, and he has pleaded not guilty. Joining us this morning, attorney Jesse Weber, host from the Law and Crime Network, founded by NewsNation's Dan Abrams. Jesse, thank you for being with us this morning. I think it was very clear early on in this case yesterday during day 1 of jury selection. Everybody in this community knows about the case, so they're going to seat a jury of his peers who are aware of some of the past discretions that are being levied against him. I spoke with an attorney who said that the defense and prosecution actually want this. It could benefit each of them in different ways. What do you think?
Well, I think it's hard to separate people's conceptions of who the Murdaughs are. I mean, this is royalty in that town. This is a small town. Their pictures are everywhere. You know, for the prosecution, it could benefit in the sense that maybe people would say, wow, my goodness, you know, there's a difference between Alec Murdaugh and the legacy people before him. For the defense, they would say, well, it's beneficial because if he's convicted, they could say, he never got a fair jury. This jury was totally biased against him. I think at the end of the day, the best thing for everybody is to get a fair and impartial jury. What does that mean? It's going to be impossible for people not to know who he is. But can they separate any conceptions they have about him, any news that they've heard about him, and just purely look at the facts and evidence? It's maybe easier said than done, but I think that's the best thing that needs to happen in this kind of case.
Is it still too late, Jesse, for a change of venue? Could the judge go, all right, this case is too in the weeds here, we've got to move it?
I don't see it happening. I think we're actually going to get jury selection finalized rather quickly. We might even see opening statements tomorrow. There is no indication that they're going to put a stop to this. There's just too much of a rolling ball here. They've spent the time of trying to get these jurors to this courthouse. Hundreds of jurors have been reported. The prosecution, I'll tell you, Marni, it's really interesting. We don't know exactly what their case is. They feel very strong with it. We have ideas of where they're going to go, but they believe they have a mountain of evidence against Alec Murdaugh, and this was, what, a 13-month investigation before he was officially arrested. So I think they're ready to go. And by the way, the defense wants this cleared. Remember, Alec Murdaugh wants this trial now. He wants to clear his name now. To set the record straight.
Yeah, we're hearing the defense may even try to point the finger at another relative possibly being responsible, which is unusual. Prosecutors claim that Alec waited an hour before he called 911 the night of the murders. They may or may not have evidence pinging his phone in that area before he made that initial 911 call. How important is the timeline to the prosecution's case?
Timeline is huge. And one of the other pieces of evidence that we heard about is that perhaps Paul was on Snapchat or using social media right before he was killed. If prosecutors can introduce that evidence, it definitely helps set a timeline of when they were in the home and also when Alec Murdaugh may have shown back up. I believe his earlier account was that he was at a relative's house before he showed back up there. So that's going to be a piece of their puzzle. I think what the prosecutors are also trying to rely on is blood spatter evidence regarding the shirt that Alec Murdaugh was wearing. Why did he have blood on him? Was it because he went near the bodies of his family, or because he fired the weapon and the blood spattered right back on him? So it's going to be not one piece of evidence, but the totality of the evidence that's going to be setting the prosecution's case apart.
Right. And the other layer is 2 guns used to kill both Maggie and Paul. Where are those guns? Can they tie forensics back to Alec Murdaugh? If you're the defense, do you put him on the stand?
Great question. I would say no. We usually see self-defense cases where a defendant gets on the stand and it works to their benefit. I don't see it working here. I really, really don't. Remember, this is a guy who was facing a ton of heat on the financial side, that he was scheming people out of money and he was withdrawing funds that he shouldn't have withdrawn. So the idea is, can he really be believed if he takes the stand? I would say it's a really bad idea for him to do that. Just strike at the prosecution's evidence. Show what they don't have. Strike at their experts, problems in their evidence, their science. That's the best bet for Alec Murdaugh going forward. Don't put him on the stand. Don't think that's going to help him at all.
I think we can bet that both legal teams are going to get pretty creative in their arguments, and we're hearing the potential of a lot of courtroom theatrics. Jesse Weber, we're going to be watching it closely, attorney and law and crime host. Thank you for being with us this morning. Good to see you. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.